Welcome to Living Healthy Chicago. I'm Jane Klaus. A good night's sleep is such an important part of taking care of our health. So today, we're finding out how nightmares and sleep struggles can affect our overall wellness and what we can do to get a better night's sleep. I am at Rush University Medical Center with Dr. James Wyatt to talk about sleep. Now, we all love getting an uninterrupted, peaceful night's sleep, don't we, Dr. Wyatt?
Absolutely, absolutely.
But please remind us why it's important to get good sleep for proper health.
Well, good sleep is important for our health for all sorts of different organ systems in the body. It's important for our brain to replenish the nutrients it needs for tomorrow, but also for the brain to reinforce memories for information we learned today.
Tons of reasons why we sleep, but sometimes our sleep can be disrupted because of a bad dream or a nightmare. In medical speak, can you explain what a nightmare is?
Now, a nightmare comes when two things happen. The dream is recalled to be very terrifying, very scary to the individual, and it wakes you up. If those two things happen, that's what we call a nightmare. Very normal for children to have these, and persistent nightmares may be as common as 20% in young children, let's say below the age of 5. So for adults, we don't see them as often. Chronic nightmares you see in maybe 5% of adults. And there's different severity levels, of course, as well.
So when you talk about severity levels, you've got the nightmare, but there's a night terror. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, different things. Sleep terror happens typically in the first half of the sleep episode. It's in what's called non-rapid eye movement sleep or non-REM sleep. It's very deep sleep. And it's when the individual may sit up, eyes wide open, look like they're terrified. They go right back to sleep later, and in the morning they have no recollection of it. Whereas the nightmares, it's in the middle of a dream, almost always during rapid eye movement or REM sleep. And this is typically going to occur in the middle to end of the night. And we call it nightmare disorder when it goes on frequently enough for longer than a month and causes some degree of excessive worry or concern to the person.
What causes nightmares?
Well, there are many different things that cause nightmares. So for example, one of the classic examples is post-traumatic stress disorder. If somebody has nightmare disorder, we want to see what are the variety of circumstances that might be making it worse or starting it off in the first place. So is it a side effect of a medication? Other times it may come from passive observation, watching the scary movie before you go to bed, and it might come back during the nighttime. Once it goes on to a week or 2 weeks and really starts interrupting your sleep, starts freaking you out during the daytime, or you start dreading going to sleep at night, absolutely, that's the time to go see somebody.
Are there tips and tricks that you could recommend for somebody who is experiencing some bad dreams?
At-home things people can do if they're having nightmares is just to take a look and see if there's anything that correlates or goes along with it. For example, is it just the night after a heavy night out drinking? When it comes to things that we're going to help them with in the sleep clinic, one of the leading treatments we'll do is something called imagery rehearsal therapy. We'll have them write it out for us, and then we'll have them write it again. They start with the initial stem of that nightmare, and then partway through we have them change it. It doesn't have to be rosy and positive, it just has to be different. And they'll practice that type of re-scripting a different end to the dream. Eventually, because they are taking the content of the nightmare and changing the ending, and they're doing it when they're awake, it becomes, we think, a new memory that pushes out or squeezes out that nightmare.
What is the one thing you want everyone to remember when it comes to good sleep and having a nightmare?
Nightmares can be a natural phenomenon we can all be subjected to at some point in our life. And they're a real validated concern, or you're worried about it, or it's having a negative impact that carries over into your daytime. And it's been more than probably a week or two, that's the time to go see somebody about it.
Great information. Thank you so much, Dr. Wyatt.
Thanks for having me.
For more health inspiration and expert advice, just head to our website, livinghealthytv.com. So if you like this video and you want more Living Healthy, just subscribe to our channel. We're happy you're here.